We would like to present Claude Chailan's case study on brand portfolio management exemplified by the development process of L'Oréal.
We would like to start off by having a look at the intention of Chailan's study, followed by presenting the key findings of the research on L'Oréal's brand portfolio management. We conclude with a critical evaluation of the paper.
The paper is based on an exploratory study, which means that the authors tried to lay a groundwork for further research into the topic of brand portfolios and how they can become a source of sustained competitive advantage. To explore the relation between portfolio management and sustained competitive advantage, the authors used a case study in which they analyzed the brand portfolio implementation strategy of L'Oréal. The main question they want to answer with this article is what kind of resources and competences are needed to successfully implement a brand portfolio and eventually create a competitive advantage. In detail, they elaborate on the questions how L'Oréal historically developed its portfolio and how its strategy has changed over time.
The historical development of L'Oréal can be divided into 3 phases, which were essential for the current portfolio strategy. In the first phase, L'Oréal aggregated brands in order to respond to different consumer needs and overcome the limits of its existing brands. When realizing that a broad range of brands can also weaken the company and its profit, L'Oréal stepped into phase 2, where they reduced and rationalized the number of its brands. This also included the introduction of an analytical process to decide if a brand is profitable and positioned effectively. Based on this process, L'Oréal started to use its portfolio as a strategic tool in the mid-90s. Thereby, the phase of competitive conceptualization has been initialized. Brands were not only managed as single brands anymore, but rather as a network of complementary brands.
During the 3 phases of brand portfolio development, L'Oréal acquired key competences which supported the development of their successful brand portfolio. The first key competence is brand radicalization, which is basically underlining the importance of brand positioning and the refocusing of each brand on its core characteristics. Brands network arbitration is important for the development of a dynamic network, which consists of complementary brands that are naturally distinguished by their brand identity strength. The brand's expansion matrix explains the development mode of the brand portfolio and defines the path and order of new segments, new product categories, or new countries. The interpretive model developed by Chailan is an illustration of the former explained process. The figure shows the internal and external changes and how L'Oréal reacted to it with changes in its brand ensemble. Furthermore, one can see how the key competences evolved and how eventually the brand ensemble transformed into a brand portfolio as a source of a sustained competitive advantage.
In conclusion, the case study has 2 main arguments. First, that companies can gain a sustained competitive advantage by developing key competencies which, in combination with a brand ensemble, create a successful brand portfolio that is not imitable. Second, main competences for managing a brand portfolio, at the example of L'Oréal, are brands radicalization, brands network arbitration, and brands expansion matrix. Therefore, the article gives valuable insights into brand portfolio strategies of a successful multi-brand company. However, the explanatory power of the article's findings is limited as it is rather company and industry specific and thus cannot be generalized. Going along with this, there's a lack of an externally valid evidence, which again means that it might be hard to get a valuable message out of the article. Furthermore, external factors such as market developments and the competitive environment are not considered. Thank you for listening. Don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions.